Hello and welcome to another Warframe video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Despair Incarnon. So let's get started. So taking a look at the evolutions, I'm going to show you two kinds of evolutions, one for the DPS build and second one for the Primer build. For the first one, we have two options, Fatal Affliction, which gives us basically like a Condition Overload, 40% direct damage per state step affecting the target, and the other one, Stalker's Vendetta. When you have Dread and Heat equipped, it gives you multi-shot but also consumes directly ammo from your magazine. In this case, your Incarnon charge, and increases your damage by 100%, also gives you 30% multi-shot. I went with this one because it helps me with the DPS, but if you have Dread and Hate equipped, you can definitely go with this one, but mind it that it will drain your charge really quickly. For the third evolution, we have three options. First one is Negative Zoom. If you feel like the weapon is too zoomed in for you, you can definitely go with this one. Second one is Projectile Speed, and the third one is 100% reload speed. Now I feel like the Despair already has a lot of reload speed, you don't need 100% reload speed addition to that, so I went with Projectile Speed, but you choose whichever you prefer. If you feel like the weapon is zoomed in too much, you can definitely go with Negative Zoom, or if you feel like it's a bit too slow for you, the transition from base to Incarnon is a bit slow, you can definitely go with Reload Speed, whichever one you prefer, but I went with Projectile Speed. As for the last one, you have three options again. You have a Status Chance, Crit Chance, and Status Chance as well, and the third one, which I went with, is a Critical Chance as well as Crit Damage. Now in my opinion, this helps a bit in the DPS of the weapon. If you're going for the Primer build, definitely go with Status Chance on this one. So let's take a look at the builds now. So take a look at the first build, which I used in the Steel Part Disruption. Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Prime Target Cracker for crit damage, Galvanized Crosshair on headshot, it gives you crit chance when aiming, plus additional if you get headshot kills, Creeping Bullseye for crit chance as well, Expel Brunier for faction damage, use base one if you don't have the Prime one, Lethal Torrent for fire rate as well as multi-shot, Prime Heated Charge to increase our DPS of heat as well, and Galvanized Shot as Condition Overload. Suppress is a personal preference. I feel like the AoE on the Despair was a bit too loud, so that's the reason I'm using this. Secondary Deadhead, on headshot kills you get additional damage. That's the reason we're using this. If you want, you could go with Secondary Merciless, or if you're going for the Incarnon mode, definitely go with Cascadia Flare, it works as well. But I feel like Secondary Deadhead is more consistent for the way I use it. That is not using Incarnon form, just using the base Despair itself with the buffs. So that's the reason I'm using Secondary Deadhead. And let's take a look at the Primer build now. So taking a look at the Primer build, Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for fire rate as well as multi-shot, Toxin and Cold Wave Building for viral, Sure Shot for Status Chance, Augur Seeker for Status Duration as well, Scorch for heat, and Prime Fulmination. It does work on the Incarnon AoE. That's the reason we're using this. Suppress, again a personal preference, you can go with Pistol Ammo Mutation or any other one that you prefer. Secondary Encumber, so on status effect we have a chance to get another status effect as well. So that's the Primer build. And taking a look at the third build, which you can use as an Incarnon AoE DPS as well. Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Prime Target Cracker for crit damage, Lethal Torrent, fire rate as well as multi-shot. I'm going with Hornet Strike on this one because we're going for a corrosive build, so it does help in scaling the damage up a bit at the start as well. Creeping Bullseye for crit chance, and Hollow Point for crit damage as well. Suppress, again personal preference, you can go with Pistol Ammo Mutation or Steady Hands or whichever one you prefer. And we're using Secondary Merciless because I don't want to focus on headshots on this one, and we're using the Incarnon AoE, so it doesn't count as headshots anyway, so that's the reason we're going with Merciless. So let's go into Simulacrum and see how to activate the Despair Incarnon. So here we are in Simulacrum, let's see how to activate the Incarnon Despair and how it works as well. So we're just going to shoot the heads of the enemies, and since we got the charge, now we activate it and let's see what happens. And this is one of the reasons I do not like the Incarnon AoE or the Incarnon mode on the Despair. It does initial impact and does an AoE after that, which I do not like. I prefer just straight up dealing damage to the enemies. Now if you're curious how the corrosive build works, let me show you as well. We're gonna get our charge, activate the Incarnon, and just hit the enemies. So even if you hit the projectile on the floor, it still does an AoE. That's a really cool part about it. But again, I do not prefer this one at all. So that's the reason I directly went for the damage itself, not the AoE at all. So let's take a look at the Steel Part now. that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. If you did, be sure to leave a like, share with your friends. Comment if you have any questions or suggestions on builds. Subscribe for more Warframe content. See you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.